Genie Entertainment presents the following. The following is not suitable for children under the age of 18. It contains coarse language, sexual references, as well as our personal views and opinions. The characters on this show are fictional and are made for fun, not harm. The Genie Show.
After almost a year, I would like to say hello and welcome to the Genie Show. This is the worst show ever. We're on episode 103 of the Genie Show, I think. Well, pretty much, the story is with that. I did record at 103, but I never quite got around to posting it. It was pretty much the final episode that we pretty much ever did. Well, ended up being the final episode. The first one originally was when I got kicked out of home. Pretty much kicked out on the street. Whereas ended up doing the episode. It ended up being the last one I ever did. So I'm deciding to come back to podcasting because, well, a few things have gone down since I've done that piece a couple weeks ago. I got pulled off air from 2Bob, and pretty much when you think about it, look at the landscape, wrestling has pretty much come back. I'm motivated to watch wrestling again, and so I figured why not come back to podcasting. Now I don't have the co-host anymore. Sadly, I don't have Mixler, so I can't do this live. So I'll be coming to you every week from YouTube and BitChute. So I hope everyone enjoys the recorded format. So let's get into things, shall we? And we'll start off with Raw. Pretty much the whole new feel of Raw was okay, but it was an average show at best. Well, it kind of got worse as the show went on. I think I turned it off halfway. Like, that's the thing. I might be getting back into wrestling, but I could not stand Raw. Except for the start, where Brock Lesnar comes in and just destroys everybody. And that's what you want out of Brock Lesnar. A monster destroying everybody, laying waste. And, you know, he beats up Rey Mysterio, and I think I got a little bit of jollies off when he suplexed the shit out of the kid. I thought that was hilarious. And I know, I have a sick sense of humor. And it's little things like that is why maybe WWE should gear towards that, you know, a little bit more action-based show instead of all that bullshit. Like, you watch it all, and there's a lot of talking on that show, and a lot of 20-minute promos, which I think hurts the product big time. When you have opening the show with 20-minute promos, by the time the first match gets in, the show is pretty much done. And then you go on and on and on. And what I fear for Raw at the moment, because with Fox becoming a priority, and really NXT, with the Wednesday Night Wars, what everybody's calling it, is becoming the NXT and SmackDown becoming the two more important shows than Raw. So I'm wondering how Raw's going to fare if it's not just going to become another 3 hours on TV. or in other words, the bitch. For the first time since 1993, Raw has become the bitch. And for years, SmackDown was always that submissive bitch, always trying to get up there, trying to get on top. And finally, that kinky motherfucker SmackDown is dominating the fuck out of Raw. I mean, hey, and NXT, well, let's face it, NXT was probably the more popular product out of all of them. Because fans around would be enjoying the takeover shows and NXT, because that, and when Vince McMahon isn't in control of it, it becomes a different story. However, we'll get into the AEW stuff later, but I'll definitely go in a little bit here. The ratings that came out for NXT compared to AEW, I can see Vince McMahon really wanting to get hands on that show. But back to Raw. One of the few notable changes was the announce team, which is now Vic Joseph, some Dion guy, and Jerry the King Lawler. Now, from listening to him, I'm wondering, people are wondering why they had Jerry the King Lawler there. Well, for those two, it wasn't really a positive outing for the two. Like, they weren't bad, but they weren't good. And I could understand why they put Jerry the King Lawler out there, who's actually done this for years. I think he said 14 of those years he had actually done, which is amazing because he's like the longest serving commentator in WWE, I think, currently. Because beforehand it was with Jim Ross and Vince McMahon. So, that's how it goes. But I think it's good with Raw having a little bit of a facelift in that sense. A new announce team. Maybe he could do more with Brock Lesnar, but then obviously it looks like he's going over to SmackDown. And I fear Raw is just going to be that extra 3 hours. And I'm wondering if it's because Raw really has run its course. Like, TV shows, wrestling shows. Like, you look throughout history, like shows like, from WWE in particular, there was Superstars, there was Wrestling Challenge, there was Primetime Wrestling, before that, WWF Championship Wrestling. And you look at these shows, and they all had a shelf life. So maybe in the scheme of things, Raw has become that show that's just lingering about. It gets higher ratings. Apparently, it's the highest rated show on cable, usually, or on USA Network anyway. But it doesn't get the buzz anymore. Like, when is the last time you had a big Raw moment? I'd say probably a few weeks ago when you had Stone Cold Steve Austin appearing on the show. Stone Cold Steve Austin has not wrestled since 2003 and is a star from 2 generations ago already. 2 generations we've had between when Stone Cold Steve Austin retired and now. So think about that. We've had the era of John Cena. We're currently in the era of Roman Reigns, which I'll want to get onto something of a topic of that. I guess we're getting to Seth Rollins, but and here's what I'm going to say about that. And I don't know if I did this on Sky Genie Radio, but I'll do it here. Isn't it funny with Seth Rollins becoming an absolute bitch a year ago? That dude was the hottest motherfucker in the wrestling business. Like, he was probably the most popular and definitely the biggest favorite. But this year alone on Twitter, that guy has buried himself deeper than anybody. It started off with Will Ospreay, with that whole argument. Going out saying he's the best in the world and all that stuff, which is, you know what? I have no issue with that. Cool, you're saying you're the best in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. working for the best company in the world. That's your opinion, then fine, have that opinion. But no one must have been in, and all Will Ospreay said that I'm alive, and he done berating everything about Will Ospreay and him, and that went back and forth, and then it came down to, well, who has the bigger bank account, making Seth Rollins to me and a lot of other people the biggest douchebag in wrestling. Easily the biggest douchebag in wrestling. And then, to top it all off, it was not just maybe a week or two later, Dean Ambrose, now known as Jon Moxley, who has left WWE, decided to do a shoot interview on why he left the company, and went to AEW. And then Seth Rollins chimed in and made the stupid comment of, well, him going to AEW and all these other companies is taking food off my table. It makes him an even bigger douchebag. Because here's this guy going out and bragging about his paycheck, and all of a sudden he's complaining about another guy working somewhere else to be happier, and that fuck decides to say, hey, you're taking money away from me. Well, fuck you. Fuck you and your stupid opinion. Seth Rollins is nothing but a whiny little bitch. And also, just last week, he deactivated his Twitter account just for the fact that he made a stupid tweet about how women's wrestling doesn't draw. Hey, be that as it may, but then, WWE's in the middle of a women's revolution, or whatever they want to call it, and here's your top star shitting on it. What's that got to say about your company there? And it's funny because, and I'll touch on this Roman Reigns thing, because isn't it funny, since he's returned from cancer, he has not been the same star, or pushed as the same star, since he's come back. And I'm wondering, because of the cancer, if WWE and Vince McMahon in general thinks he might be damaged goods. That might be the issue, just because he had cancer, which sucked for Roman Reigns, and I was out for that whole entire time, and I thought that was the worst thing that probably could happen to the guy. But then, it kind of got him, kind of stopped a huge booing that, well, at least for a while, that a huge booing that he would get. But it finally made him a sympathetic character, like people that we could relate to, people like somebody. Then all of a sudden, WWE comes along, and they don't want to push that. I don't know why, but I think it's really, really stupid why they're not pushing it. I really think that Roman Reigns should be the one facing Kofi Kingston instead of Brock Lesnar. But, that's how it goes. So after the break, we'll be talking about AEW.
The Sky Genie Show.
Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! I thought perhaps a gateway to the other side had finally crinkled and cracked, opening up a putrid passageway in the middle of Chain Street to Beelzebub's bungalow many, many miles down. Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! I don't know. As I stared into the darkened void, imagining the hordes of devils soon to spring forth, I couldn't help but ponder. Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! How deep does that hole go? Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! For on this hallowed day, sweet, sweet Mama Earth opened up her gaping and gaseous orifice to finally allow the darkened one to claw his way out of the shadow zone and into our luminescent heaviside lair. Like Kruger into the Thompson's tub, and my consciousness is Nancy's open thighs. Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! I don't know. Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! I can only hope my vexed savior ascends, and that my servitude to the one true maestro of mayhem can finally be proclaimed. Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! Choke me, Devil Daddy, choke me! Through the a holographic plane of existence that flickers and fades, like an Alf rerun watched at 3 o'clock in the morning whilst your sleeping stepdad slumbers and snores. I now see this world as evanescent as I lock eyes with the legion of the underworld, who will stand shoulder to shoulder with me and see me as more than Mark who works at Arby's, see me as the true soldier of Samhain that I really am, and together we will chant into the Brighton fray, stepdads be damned and naysayers be gone, for I am the Prince of Purgatoria. I am the infernal firstborn son of Lucifer. I am Gordon Shumway the Rogue, last son of Melmac, and the luckies of this world didn't even stand a chance. I don't know. Choke me, devil daddy, choke me. Choke me, devil daddy, choke me. Choke me, devil daddy, choke me. Holes are pretty cool.
The Sky Genie Show.
And we are back. And now we're going to talk about AEW, the first and much anticipated TV show of Dynamite. This show averaged a 1.409 million viewers, which beat NXT. Where did they come from? 891,000 people watched NXT. And you gotta think there, why did NXT not deliver? I put it down to this. I don't think there was enough promotion going into NXT as there was AEW. Now, what I mean by that, not to say they weren't promoting the show, that's not the case. AEW, has pretty much been promoting the TV show since really day one, since they announced that they were going to be a company. Now, of course, there was all this wondering who are they going to sign with, where are they going to sign with, when's this going to be on, here and there. And it wasn't really until this week that you finally got the TV show. So this has been a year build, and in the span of 3 months as well. Whereas NXT, well, this was kind of just thrown together probably last month. So I don't think there was enough promotion behind it. They really didn't mention it on Raw that much, that hey, there's going to be a 2-hour NXT on USA Network, you should probably watch this. And it's things like that. Like maybe if you put a little bit more promotion into it, you would have got something with it. And it makes me wonder if Vince McMahon will end up taking over NXT. And I guess the ratings plummeting when Vince McMahon takes over, because all of a sudden you don't have the fun, spontaneous show that you're accustomed to with NXT. You're going to have a lot of bullshit. Vince McMahon bullshit and edicts. But we'll go into AEW. It started off with Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. And here's the thing about that match. Not a lot of people like Cody Rhodes. But I thought he did a tremendous job working with Sammy Guevara. And Sammy Guevara really looked like a star in that match. The match started off slow. This was a constant theme of this show that a lot of matches starting off slow and getting good towards the end. But Sammy Guevara worked his fucking ass off in that match to make him look like a star. And even though Cody Rhodes won, it wasn't really a defeated win. It was more of a hey, got you type win. So they didn't really outright beat or squash Sammy Guevara. They actually made him look really good. To the point, I think he's one of the few people that's going to be a breakout star in AEW. Him and MJF. Who was another guy who's just stealing the show everywhere. Like MJF, he has that ability to talk. He can wrestle in the ring, and he's going to captivate you. He's going to piss you off because he does nothing but insult you, and that's what's awesome about that character. And that's why that dude is going to go far. I can see him being the champion. Like, if I'm AEW, I'd make him the champion. Or if they have a mid-card title, give him that. Push that dude all the way to the top. And I agree when he said in the promo that he's the fastest rising star in the business. And it's not really that hard to not agree with that. I share those sentiments exactly. That he's probably the hottest rising star in the business. And there's not many times you can say that about people. Because there's nobody in WWE that looks like hot and rising. There's nobody that I hear about in Impact besides Killer Cross. Killer Cross is and here's the thing I would love to see. I would love to see AEW sign Killer Cross. I think it'd be perfect for that company. Him going in there and just mauling over people. Give him the Goldberg push. Why not? Have him go in there and squash people. And have him be the guy to beat Chris Jericho. Make him the champion and don't take that title off him for at least 1 or 2 years. Keep that momentum with him. Because he's definitely going to be a star in the future. Like, I can see that. And I saw something on Twitter today. Talking with Klondike Bill. Because he's been trying to get out of Impact for the last few months, and he went on. And a fan asked him on Twitter, "Hey, why don't you make a shirt out of this? You could probably make a lot of money." And he said respectfully to the fan, and which Klondike and I responded to favorably, that he doesn't want to make money from that. He wants to make money on his own. Like, and I could see him making money on his own. He's going to be a big star in this business at some point. Unless Impact gets their shit together and start pushing him like a star, like, he's pretty much wasted talent there. Let him go. Let him go to AEW where he can be a bigger star and push that dude to the moon. Definitely a guy that deserves a whole lot of things in his business. Because I've seen him a few times now. I've seen him on those Bloodsport shows, and he is absolutely fantastic. Definitely a dude I'm hoping AEW has their eye on once his contract comes up. What else was on that show? Well, obviously we had the beatdown of Chris Jericho. Now, there was a lot of commercials on this show. Apparently, I think I may have got this wrong, but I think it's 16 commercials an hour. That is a minimum requirement to be on TNT, which is why they're having issues with ITV in the UK, who has 12. So, and I believe that those have been resolved, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Tony Khan said on the posting after it that that this had been resolved. So we'll probably find out more about that. And the main event was a 6-man tag between the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega versus the former LAX and Chris Jericho. Now, this kind of turned into a bit of a clusterfuck. While the angles on that were great to turn off, but this isn't a match. Like like John Moxley comes in and attacks Kenny Omega, but right in front of the referee, and the referee doesn't disqualify it. Like, really? They couldn't do a ref bump in this match? Like, if in all the matches that could have used it, that was it. But, I guess AEW didn't think that way. Like, attention to detail. That's definitely an attention to detail that they overlooked. And let's face it, AEW is not perfect. I mean, WWE would probably do the same thing as well, or any other company. Like, but still, that little bit of attention to detail could have been done. Like, I guess they don't want to do a lot of ref bumps, because everybody does ref bumps. Ref bumps. But if there's an instant that calls for it, why not? But anyway, that's my rundown on AEW. Now I'm going to do SmackDown. I'm not doing all the shows this week because there's a lot. I'm going to do SmackDown. This will be the final part of the Sky Genie show. So we'll be back after the break.
The Sky Genie Show. Sky Genie Show.
And we are back. You are listening to the Sky Genie Show, the worst show ever. Now we're going to be talking about SmackDown. SmackDown's debut on Fox. Now this was a pretty, really good show for the most part. There was kind of in the middle there where it kind of dragged. Felt the show went on, but either way, it was a really fun show for the debut on Fox. I mean, it kicked off, let's start off hot, with Becky Lynch, Baron Corbin, and The Rock. And only The Rock can get an entire audience to chant STD to Baron Corbin, what did he call him? A cheap Burger King on crack? Or cracky? Is what I believe he was called. Man, you can... And just when I think this was easily the best segment on the show. Definitely anything with The Rock in it is definitely going to be the thing. And here's the problem that lies with that. This show, and not just this show, Raw as well, needs The Rock and Steve Austin. Because, let's face it, nobody else gets over. Nobody else gets fan reactions like they do. Even Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair was getting massive reactions when they come out. And they're two different generations. And we're into an era where we have people like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and all these other people who don't get the fan reaction that they're supposed to get. Other than Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's probably the only one that gets the proper fan reaction. Whether he's with the yes chants or when he was working as a heel. Even now, like I was watching tonight, Daniel Bryan's probably the only one that gets a massive reaction from everybody because that's how great he is. And we somehow need to get more stars like that. It was cool, and I guess unless you're Kofi Kingston who got squashed tonight for that championship, but then we got that debut of Cain Velasquez. The backstory behind Cain Velasquez is he's the guy who beat Brock Lesnar for the UFC Championship. Yes, and Cain Velasquez recently worked Triple Mania in Mexico, where he was in a six-man tag. I think it was with Cody Rhodes. And there was all these rumors and speculations that he was going to go to AEW due to the friendship of Cody Rhodes. And it wasn't until about a week or so ago that I had heard that there had been a deal between him and WWE. It wasn't concrete, so it wasn't confirmed, but it was speculation. So here you go. Obviously, we got Cain Velasquez in WWE and facing Brock Lesnar. I don't know when they're going to have this match. I'm guessing Survivor Series. I haven't seen Cain Velasquez work, so I don't know if he's good in the ring or not. I really have to watch that Triple Mania match to really find out. But in a sense, who knows? Maybe this will be something that WWE needs. Be looking very legit. And maybe with AEW breathing down their necks, this is actually a good thing. And plus being on Fox, Fox definitely wants that real sports presentation. And you're going to get that with Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. But here's the thing, are you going to see them every week? WWE is a touring company, and Brock Lesnar doesn't make appearances every week. He's only there about 4 times a year. Cain Velasquez, on the other hand, well, maybe he'll probably be on the road more to get a little bit more experience in the ring. But who knows? Overall, I thought this show was really good. I thought this whole week was pretty good for wrestling. And it's really cool to see how much wrestling is coming back. The only 2 companies that are probably really suffering are probably Impact and Ring of Honor. Even though Impact just got on it, or they just bought, what's the channel over there? Well, they bought a whole channel, so they can put Impact on whenever they want, which is on a Tuesday. Whereas Ring of Honor, well, they haven't been viable since the Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and all the Bullet Club guys left. And I mean, like, the old iteration of it. And really, people kind of saying, well, Ring of Honor kind of got dirty with the Young Bucks now leaving, but then when you think about it, they kind of did that to themselves. Ring of Honor, going back, there was reports early in the year that AEW and was trying to have a working relationship with Ring of Honor, exchange talent back and forth here and there, but Ring of Honor pretty much laughed them out of the room. And, well, what do you have now? AEW is looking mighty successful, and people compare AEW to TNA. Well, they're on a giant network with TNT. They're in buildings that are selling over 10,000 seat buildings. So I don't know. Within the last 10 months they've been in business, they've already outdone TNA in the entire time, or Impact, the entire time it's been in business. Ring of Honor has always been a company that's been experiencing growth, but it was always slow, and it would be little steps. At the moment, they're in a real big slump, because the magic they used to have, and this will be from the book of Gabe Sapolsky. Somebody would leave the company, like they'll go to WWE, TNA, or whatever, but they always had somebody in the back that they were building up to take over that spot. So if Bryan Danielson left, or CM Punk, or Samoa Joe, they always had somebody in the wings to climb up the ladder. Ring of Honor hasn't really been doing that, and I kind of felt that on the current booker, which is Delirious. And I don't want to blame Delirious. I mean, he's been a really good booker, obviously, with Ring of Honor, but at the same time, maybe he's a little bit burnt out. Maybe you need a fresh idea. Why not bring in somebody younger to do something a little bit different? I don't know. That's just me. Because Ring of Honor is really, really struggling at the moment, and I would not be surprised if they go out of business. I don't think they will. It's really good that they made Rush their champion, even though they should have made Marty Scurll, because Because maybe you would have kept him at that point. Because obviously that dude's out the door as soon as his contract's up. Why wouldn't you have made him champion to make him stay? And because he's easily the biggest star in that company. And yes, they're pushing Rush. I'll say Rush because it sounds retarded the other way. Like they're pushing Rush as a top star, which is actually a good move. I actually think that is an excellent move. The problem is that the reason why, as I said before, that Midas God didn't become champion is because he was planning to leave and go elsewhere. Well, Matt Taven's contract actually expired just before their last pay-per-view. Yet he still resigned. Yet they still made him champion. He ended up resigning, but they made him champion. Kind of dumb logic there, isn't it? Yeah, but he obviously ended up staying because they gave him so much platform. And the rumor is with him that he was offered more money to stay in Ring of Honor than he would have been in NXT. So obviously they have the money, they have the resources. Do something with it. Do something to make it matter. You own a damn station. Get off your ass and do something. Don't just let stuff slide. Because it would be really sad to see Ring of Honor go out. Because I've been a massive Ring of Honor fan for years, and this is dating back to when the company first opened. I've been getting the old DVDs and tapes and everything, and you obviously remember the matches like Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, and so many other things like Kevin Owens, who was then Kevin Steen, became a star in Ring of Honor. And personally, I think if him getting over in Ring of Honor is why he's in WWE today. He wouldn't be in WWE today if he didn't get over in Ring of Honor. That is totally my opinion, and I don't think I'm wrong in that, and I'll say that as a fact. But now we're going to come to this week's Stupid Shit of the Week. Goes to the NWA Wrestling. Now, the NWA did their TV tapings, I believe this past Monday and Tuesday, which is all fine, great, and it looks really good. A studio wrestling, like the old Crockett shows you used to be able to watch, and it looks different. It looks authentic and different. What you saw on back in the day is what you're going to get there now. On Facebook, I believe, they had decided to post the spoilers of their show. Why is that stupid? Well, think about this for a second. Spoilers ruin it for people. If you're gonna, it's one thing for other websites like the Wrestling Observer or all those other news sites to post the spoilers of the show. It's another thing for the company to spoil them. I don't know, I go to watch Star Wars and I want to find out, I don't want to have to find out who's Luke Skywalker's father is on a message, on a poster or on a social media thing. Hey, by the way, this is the ending. I would rather watch the show and find out for myself instead of putting those spoilers on there. And yes, it is my fault and yours as well to not look at those spoilers, but at the same time, when the company's doing it, it kind of makes you look second rate, or not even second rate. That is probably the dumbest thing you could ever do. I would never post spoilers. Never post spoilers. Even if I ran a wrestling company, I'll never do that. But that's just me. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for listening to this episode of the Sky Genie Show. Go to Twitter at the Sky Genie Show. Check us out on YouTube and BitChute. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you later.
Genie Show.